Good morning, YouTube. There is a reason why they use solitary confinement in prison as a form of punishment. Some of us find ourselves completely overwhelmed during this quarantine, trying to juggle our family and our work, which is not usually at home, with our family being home all the time. Others of us find ourselves at home without having to work with our family all the time. And then there's those who find themselves at home by themselves without any family, spouse, anyone to speak of, and any job to do. You're not working from home. You're just home. And for all of these people, you need to put yourself on some form of a schedule. I know it can seem chaotic for most and unfamiliar, but you have to keep some routine or the whole thing falls apart. Just like when you would have a routine and a schedule without the situation, you need to have it with the situation. But for those people who find themselves utterly and entirely alone, and you're not familiar with this, you're not familiar with being home alone with nothing to do day after day, and you got to make it through these next 3 weeks. You can get depressed and feel incredibly isolated and incredibly bored, and it can be really bad for your mental health. Sitting and binge watching something might take care of a day, but you can't do that for 3 weeks. I highly suggest that you put yourself on some type of routine. When you wake up in the morning, have an intention for the day. Have an itinerary of things that you intend to accomplish during that day and go about accomplishing those things. Before you go to sleep at night, write a list of intentions for the following day. Then when you wake up in the morning, you can do your morning routine, review those intentions, and follow through with them the next day. Creating some sort of temporary, ordinary flow to your life that includes words includes movement. You need to get your exercise. That includes socializing in some form or another, so you're not so isolated. You need to text, call, email, social media. Even if you have no one, there really is no one that you can contact. Find a favorite YouTuber, someone in the social media world that you can feel some sort of connection with, or a book character that you can feel some sort of connection with, and read that book. Spend some time following that person. Pick up a skill. Pick up working out. Pick up cooking. Clean something every day. Do something creative. Set yourself a routine. Even though you're home all day and you don't have to work, why would I do that? Well, you're not 14. And there's a reason why when people retire from work, they often get really unwell and they're done. They fall apart because they don't know what to do with themselves. They feel cut off socially and they don't know what to do with their day. And especially right now where we can't just get together and hang out all the time. That defeats the purpose of not being at work. It's why we're home. If you go and hang out in big social gatherings, not only is that irresponsible, but then you should just go to your job. So in the meantime, if you're having trouble adjusting to being home and you're utterly isolated, there are ways that you can help cope with the situation. You need to keep yourself busy. You need to have schedule and goals, whether it's cleaning out a closet. I know cleaning may not be the most fun thing, but it should be a thing on your to-do every day, because hey, how often do we have time to get to those things when we're working all the time and doing the other things that have to be done? You can do really thorough jobs that you've been putting off forever, cleaning out your refrigerator. That'll take up a good chunk of your time. And yes, you can relax a little bit and enjoy the time off, of course. But just having a void for 3 weeks is just going to make you terribly unhappy. You have to be a grown-up about this and put yourself on a schedule. You wouldn't let your kid sit in his bedroom 24/7 doing nothing. So don't let yourself sit in your house 24/7 doing nothing. Movement, socialization of some form, creativity of some form, cleaning, self-care. Those kind of things can take up a big portion of your day. Reading that book you've been intending to read but have never gotten around to. You can do those things you've never gotten around to. The main point is that this is my situation most of the time. I live separately from my partner, and I spend the week with just my cat, and I go to work and I come home. I'm still going to work and coming home, but predominantly my day is just me. And I would go completely insane if I didn't have a routine that I follow throughout the day. Our hours just got switched. Not the amount of time we work, but the days we work are the same. The amount of time we work is the same, but they moved us to this weird middle of the day shift. And now when I go home, I typically just go to sleep. Now I don't really know what to do with myself. So I watched a movie last night and then I went to sleep. That's not going to cut it for 3 weeks. I'm not just going to come home and lay on the couch and watch a movie for 3 weeks and not move and not do anything and have less time in the morning to do the things I would typically do. I'm going to have to find a new temporary order of my day also. But you can't just sit in a box by yourself all day in front of the TV. You will go insane. Your heart will break. Set yourself some intentions before you go to sleep at night of things you would like to accomplish the next day. And accomplish those the next day. Review them in the morning once you've woken up. And don't overburden yourself right now. You don't need to do 22 things. You don't need to guilt yourself for not completing your to-do list or your intentions list. Because if you're off work and you're at home, there's no one keeping score. There's no one coming up with these ideas except for you. But having a typical routine and some things that this is just what I do in a day, is really good for your mental health. You don't want to notice the loneliness too much. You need to keep yourself occupied. Even though it's new and unfamiliar. Even people in solitary confinement find something to do. Even if it's just pacing the walls. It's not enough, but it's something. We are made to do things. And when we feel confined and isolated and trapped, we can begin to feel confined and isolated and trapped if we don't make sure to do things. So set an itinerary for yourself and follow through with it. And create a routine for yourself and follow through with it so that you have some sort of regimented day. And for those with different life situations that are a little more chaotic, having a schedule can also help with that. Like typical people who work from home have a schedule so that life doesn't interfere with work and work doesn't interfere with life. And you have to be self-motivated to make that happen. You have to be self-motivated to make all of this happen. And to just pull it out of the air when it's not your typical routine is a little jolting. But you're an adult. You're a capable human being and you can adapt. Don't just get overly frustrated, get overwhelmed, or sit at home and rot. You'll get depressed and you'll get stressed. You have to motivate yourself right now. And a schedule is incredibly important. Love you guys. Bye, YouTube.